Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Y'all, guess what? I wrote a book. Ah! Like, just being able to say that. Like, I wrote a book. A whole one. Like, I wrote it. I wrote a book. It's in the world. It's published. It's out there. Anyways, so my name is Catherine Young. I'm a professional creative, and this channel is all about creative tips, tricks, inspiration, and all kinds of creative what-have-yous, okay? I am a multi-passionate creator. I do all kinds of things. And recently, I wrote a book. I wrote a nonfiction book about social media and politics and marketing, and I want to talk to you about it today. What this video today is going to be about, it is going to be about my process, what it was like writing this, what I went through, and some of my best resources. So I'm going to tell you the whole story of how the book came to be, but in there, I promise you, you are going to find nuggets of resources and information that are going to be helpful to you. Also, I will link resources down below to help any future authors out there find some great advice and tips from people that know way more than I do. So first off, let's just take a moment to check it out. This is the book. This is the book I wrote. I wrote How to Discuss Politics Online, Stop Falling for Bullshit Marketing Tactics. This is the book I wrote, okay? It's a decent size, and basically what it does is it goes through all kinds of different memes, and it just explains the marketing tactic used and why people fall for them so easily. So yeah, it's a great resource, and I'm really excited. I think the world needs it now more than ever. So yeah, so this is the book. Okay, so first of all, where did the idea come from? So the idea to write this book, the idea honestly wasn't a book. The idea came with a viral meme I created for Girls Life magazine. You've probably seen it. I'm gonna insert it right here. I created this meme in 10 minutes, and the meme changed the magazine industry. The meme went around the world. And quite honestly, the meme changed my life. It got me on the phone with people from around the world interviewing me. I got to speak with people at the UN. It even made it on the Today Show. It's still, to this day, one of the most surreal things I've ever gone through. It has really shown me what one image can do, the power of one image. And so I am an internet marketer. That is what I do for a living. And I see the back end of memes. I see engagement. I see how you can target people on social media. I run tons of social media accounts. So I'm just more savvy on social than the regular person. And in 2016, I saw tons of horrible political memes, but I didn't really think anything of it. I was just like, these are gross, but nobody actually believes them, so it doesn't matter, right? And then my meme happened. And this one image changed the world. And I started looking at all these other horrible memes, these logical fallacies, these memes without links, these just blatant lies being posted online, and just realized, oh shit, this all matters. And there are way more of them repeating the same lies over and over and over again. And it started weighing on me. It really started weighing on me because my original Facebook post, it was shared less than 2,000 times. And I started realizing, like, oh my God, I was seeing racist memes being posted that weren't real. Nobody was checking the facts. And there were 1 million shares on these things. And I realized this makes a huge difference. If I have seen this meme 30 times in my timeline, people are believing it. People aren't checking. And I kept seeing the same types of ideas over and over again, and they're hateful, divisive, and they were just blatant marketing tactics, and people kept sharing them no matter what. So I started speaking up. I started telling people like, hey, this isn't the greatest thing to do, like why this is not a good meme. And honestly, people would just be pissed. People would block me, they'd yell at me, I'd get nastygram and DM messages, and it weighed on me. I have been physically very sick with a chronic illness for the last 3 years, and I haven't really been able to leave the house that much. So really it has been one of those things where the internet was really my connection to other people and my connection to the world. And I was watching people throw absolute garbage onto the internet and ruin the possibilities of great communication. And they kept falling for these same marketing tactics over and over and over. And I was so frustrated and I was so upset. And it didn't matter how many people I corrected. It didn't matter. They just kept falling for them. I would sit up at night while I would wake up in pain with the chronic condition I had, and I would sit up at night and I would take the meme that I had saved on my phone that I kept seeing people share that like wasn't a good idea to share and had very deceptive marketing tactics used. And I would sit up in Google Docs and I would write and I would write and I would write what marketing tactic was used, and I would write how you can disprove it, and I just kept doing this over and over and over again, and it would help me get the guilt off my chest of not correcting everyone I saw. And pretty soon I realized, hey, this is a lot of stuff. I am writing a lot of stuff. And at the end, I wrote over 175,000 words. If you know anything about book length, you know that's just ridiculous, okay? You know that's a ton. So the current book ended up being about 40,000 words, which even for the size of it is really short, because this book has so many pictures and such. It's actually a really short book. So I wrote all these words and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna make this a book. Like that's what I'm gonna do. So that's how the book came to be. It was just my personal experience, my personal frustration, and realizing the real impact that marketing had on all these memes posted, and that I needed to do something about this because I could, because I had the experience, because I had the knowledge of going viral, and because I grew up in a very conservative state, am liberal and progressive personally, and moved away and now have tons of liberal and progressive friends. And I see what each side falls for again and again and again. And I see these divisive posts and I see the tricks that make us all share them. So once I realized this was a book, I was like, okay, I want to publish a book, but it can't be controversial. I don't want people to get mad at me. I mean, even the Girls Life meme, random strangers wrote articles on the internet of how horrible of a person I was. I would get hate emails, hate messages. Once you're out on the internet, people come at you. They come after you because they got nothing better to do, and you become a target if people can find you on the internet. And so I was like, oh, this book, like I can't become a target. Maybe I'll do it as like cats versus dogs to be non-political, or maybe I'll just hand draw all these fake memes so people get an idea what we're talking about. But at the end of the day, I realized people had to see the real memes. They had to see what was really being shared so that they could be like, oh, I've seen that. I get it now. They had to see the real thing. So what I did is I met with a lawyer and we talked about fair use and what I could use in my book. And here's a tip for you. If you have questions and you need to talk to a lawyer, in my state, artists actually get 2 meetings with lawyers for half an hour each for free through one of our local art support agencies. So check out your state, check what resources are available. You might be able to speak with a lawyer about things without even having to pay for the consultation. So after I kind of figured out that this wasn't going to be cats versus dogs, I wasn't going to draw this whole thing, and I had talked to a lawyer about fair use and all that applies with this work, I realized that my main goal was just to get the book out there. That was the goal. The goal was not to make a ton of money. The goal was not to be famous. The goal was not to be professionally published. The goal was just to get this book out there because it needed to exist. So really, as things kept going, I realized there was no way I was going to be able to traditionally publish this. my ideas kept flowing and evolving, and I just couldn't get my shit together enough to do a real proposal for an agent or a publisher. And I was like, you know what? I have marketing skills, I have graphic design skills. I can publish this myself. I can get this book out myself. And so that's why I went the route of self-publication. It was really just to get it out there. Because honestly, if I had gone the traditional publishing route, it probably still wouldn't be published today. I can tell you that right now. There's just way too much. I mean, I would probably still be working with the publisher about what was going into the book. And this book needs to be out now. Everything that we are going through proves this book needs to be out now. In fact, I feel like I'm late. I feel like this book is late. But in all honesty, just looking at what's happening, this book isn't late. It's more relevant than ever because people are still posting the same crap and they're still not learning. So I just, I have the design skills. I have marketing skills. I can do this. I can get this book out myself. And that's how I decided to go self-publishing. So I also knew that I didn't really know a lot about self-publishing. Like, I really needed help. I needed resources, and I needed to know how to do this process. So the greatest resources I found were an amazing author named Joanna Penn. She has a website and a podcast called The Creative Pen. Such a great resource if you want to be a self-published author. I also found Jenna Moresi. She was an amazing resource. She was on YouTube and what people call Authortube, and she's just one of the many authors that post about their process and about publishing books as a self-published author. Also, Bethany Athanzada, I might be saying her name wrong, I'm sorry, is also a great resource for self-publishing, and there were a few others on Authortube that I really enjoyed that were very helpful. I'll link down below my favorite resources, people on Authortube and such. Oh gosh, and also Skillshare. Skillshare classes were great. Jenna Moresi even has Skillshare classes. So I took her classes and it really started getting me in the headspace of what self-publishing is, what the whole thing is. Because it's not just writing a book and pressing a button. It is so much more. It is so complex. And I really needed help getting there. So one thing that I found very hard and frustrating about online resources for self-publishing is almost everyone that is on Authortube, as I discussed before, they are either fiction writers, which is a whole different ballgame than nonfiction, or when they do nonfiction, they are what is called rapid release books, and they're thin books about different tutorials, usually about marketing or just different niche things. So no one was really doing a book with research, with citing sources on a topic the way I was. At least I couldn't find anyone to follow. So just let you know that was hard. So if you're doing a nonfiction book like me, that isn't this kind of marketing strategy of rapid release, which really is, just this standalone item. There weren't that many people that talked through the process of this. So I really had to dig for sources, and I really had to just take what I could from the different Authortubers and be like, hey, this works, this doesn't, and apply it to my book. One thing all my sources that I found really agreed on is you really need an editor, a professional editor. So I knew when I was going to spend money on this book, a professional editor is where I was going to make the money spend. At first, I hired a friend to be an editor, and I hired her way too early in this process. What I didn't realize is your first draft isn't the one that goes to the editor. Your second draft isn't the one that goes to the editor. Your third draft is maybe the one that should go to the editor. I didn't realize that. So I started sending copy to this editor, and honestly, she just ghosted me. She stopped getting back to me about anything. And so, I paid her $250 and I got nothing to use. She did some edits, but the final book is so different from what she edited that that was just throwing money away. It didn't do anything. So what I did is I kept refining and fine-tuning, and finally realized that I wanted the book to be really short. So the book is only 40,000 words, and that is actually really short, because I wanted all the information people could get to be in just short little chunks, short little paragraphs. And to make sure that I got that all the way down, I had a first draft, a second draft, and a third draft. I had to keep cutting and refining ideas. And then I went online and I found a natural reader app, and I had that app read through my text to me. So that really helped me catch mistakes. Like, that when you read something that you've been working on a long time, sometimes you don't even realize that like you just skipped a word because you've been looking at it so long, you don't even notice. So that natural reader app really helped me spot where I had screwed up, where I had errors and mistakes. So after I had done 3 drafts, after I had natural reader go through and do the edits, that is when I decided to hunt for another professional editor. I went to a professional editor association website, found an editor, hired her, thought she was a great fit. Had some major drama with this editor. I did pay her $900 to edit my book. I felt the money was well worth it. She did a great job. I would just never work with this person again. So 2 rounds with editors that didn't work out, like, that's rough, okay? A lot of people would have just given up, right? And that's one thing I've noticed about this book. It's like every single step was harder than it needed to be. Every single step was like pulling the cart when the ox decided to sit down. And God, now I know why people don't write books, because it's a shit show and it's hard to do. So after I got my professional edit back, it took me about 3 weeks to go through all the edits. There were thousands of edits and it was amazing. And it was really hard work to get it all put together. And another thing all my resources that I found online really agreed on is you need beta readers. You need people to read your book before everybody else does and just point out things. And so, okay, I need beta readers. What does that mean? What it means is you take a bunch of people and you ask them to read the book. And you ask them to give you edits. Everything from copy edits to bigger, more stylistic choice edits, right? And what's cool about it is, say you have 10 beta readers, right? Say 3 of them come back with the same edit or the same question about a sentence. Like maybe they didn't understand it or they think I should word it better. Well, that's 30% of the people who read it. So you should probably make that change, right? It's a really great way to like source out problems. Another thing I noticed with the beta reader process was like, sometimes one person would make a comment about how this should be all different. I don't like this, but no one else said that. Well, then that's just that one person. I'm not as worried about it. But when I saw a trend with things, then I knew I had to change it. And you guys, my beta readers were amazing. They did such a good job. It was like every time someone made a comment on something, all the rest did. It was fantastic. But even the beta reader process was way harder than I knew it was going to be. I asked about 20 people to be beta readers, and I put them in a private Facebook group. Honestly, less than 10 even participated. Most of them just ghosted me and didn't do anything, didn't send me any edits, nothing. I actually don't even know why they joined the group if they weren't going to participate at all. So the fact that they didn't do anything is a really passive-aggressive way to kind of shit on someone. So that was really frustrating. But honestly, the people who did give me edits, oh my God. They brought the book to life. They did the final polishing, and they did such a great job. So I highly, highly recommend doing the beta reader process. Do not skip that. So next, I knew that I wanted to do print on demand. There were so many options to do print on demand. There's site-specific, there's whole companies that'll do it for you, and there's also the whole world of book distribution, which, God, there's a ton to learn there. And for me, I really wanted to do a pre-sale and do book distribution to a bunch of different platforms, right? So I decided, I'm going to go with this company called Ingram Spark. You guys, it was an uphill battle the whole way. The sizing that they said the book would be in the front end wasn't actually available on the back end. I mean, there were so many things wrong. I just had to give up trying to do a pre-sale through them. So what I ended up doing is I ended up publishing my book just through Amazon, just for now. I'll probably try to do all the different platforms as time goes on, but at this point, done is better than perfect. I just had to get the book out and into the world. So I uploaded my first version of the book around March 28th-ish, something like that. And I just didn't tell anyone it existed. I got a proof copy, looked it over, made edits and stuff. I just didn't tell people it was there. That was my strategy. Was just, you know, plan a release day, which was June 22nd. Like, that's my release day. But the book is actually available. It sucks that I can't do a pre-sale, but like I said, done is better than perfect, right? Another cost you need to know about is if you decide to purchase your own ISBN numbers, which I did, because I just didn't want Amazon owning my ISBN numbers for my book, it is going to be $200 for just one. And then it jumps, which is just so ridiculous. If you want 10 of them, it is $300. One, $200, 10, $300. So I bought the 10, right? And also, I need the 10. Every single format your book is in needs another ISBN. Hardback, paperback, ebook, they all need their own ISBN. So as time goes on, I'm going to utilize all those ISBNs. I know I will, but just that's another investment you just kind of have to, you know, be aware of. Between the time that I uploaded my book and the time that I told people it existed, I got a proof copy in the mail so I could kind of like look it over. You can see it says like, do not sell, not for resale. So that was like the proof that I could use to kind of tweak it, do all the things that I needed to make sure that it was the way I wanted it, right? And then between the time I told people it was on sale and the time it was published, I was working on my website. I was working on the website that's attached to the book. If you get the book, you'll know what I'm talking about. You know, there was just all these things to do, ads, all this stuff. And it gave me the time to do that. I really underestimated how much time I needed to do all those things. So tip, plan more time for that type of stuff than you think it's going to take. And so moving forward, where do I go from here? I plan to do an ebook. I'm working on it right now. I also plan to do study guides for book clubs, and I really want to do a very cheap PDF download for book clubs too, so they don't have to buy even the ebook. I also plan on doing an online book club, maybe some Q&As, who knows? So I want to just do different things with this book moving forward and hopefully getting into the hands as many people as possible and turn it into a really great resource for people. And yeah, so that's where we are. That's where I am. I hope you found some of this helpful. I hope you found some of the resources helpful. I hope you found my experience helpful. Kitty! Kitty! Oh, yeah. Oh, say hi, little miss. Say hi. So anyways, yeah, I hope you found this video helpful. And this was just my experience. Your experience could be completely different. You could not want to spend money on things that I spent money on. You could decide, this doesn't work for me and this does work for me. But that's my experience. That's what I went through. And I really hope you found some of these resources helpful. I really hope it gave you kind of an inside look of what it takes to make a book. And yeah, I hope to see a book from you in the future. So if you want to see more videos about creative advice and all the things, give me a like, give me a subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.